here with Desiree Vargas Wrigley and Ethan Austin, the founders of GiveForward, an online fundraising platform where family members and friends can create personalized fundraising pages for their loved ones' medical expenses. Thanks so much for joining us, you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Congratulations on a truly life-changing idea. You've created a place for people to come together and actively help their loved ones during the most difficult time of their lives. Can you guys walk me through the process of creating a personalized fundraising page?
Sure. So someone will come to the site. Let's say your brother-in-law or your sister-in-law gets sick, might have cancer, and you decide you want to help them. So you would come to the page, set it up. It takes anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes to set up the page, depending on how much you want to write. But create a profile, kind of like setting up a LinkedIn profile or a Facebook profile. You add pictures, you add the story, you tell people why you're raising money. And then once that profile is set up, you send it out to friends and family via email or via Facebook, which is how a lot of people spread the word. And then they get the page, they get the link to the page, and they can go then and contribute via credit card and leave words of support for that person so that they know they're not going through this time, this illness all alone.
So it seems like kind of the biggest defining trait of GiveForward is a really hands-on community. Can you tell us a little bit about your team and what it's like to work with a personal fundraising coach?
Yeah, so at GiveForward we have a mantra, and that is create unexpected joy. And it's really a mantra that permeates everything we do. So it's part of our fundraising coaches' effort. When they work with our users on the site, they're really trying to make it so that their fundraisers are the most successful they can possibly be. But it also has to do with like the technology and how we build around user suggestions. And then finally, it's about how we interact with each other and even our stakeholders and shareholders. So I think it's kind of a universal theme that we have at GiveForward, and it makes it just a more powerful kind of navigational tool for our coaches to help all the people who come through our site.
So let's say I'm a donor and I log on to GiveForward to contribute. What do you want me to do once I'm there?
Donate.
I mean, the biggest thing at GiveForward is really that we help people connect with stories that are meaningful to them. Most of the people that are coming to donate know through some degree of separation the person they're about to give to. But eventually we'd like to be the kind of platform where, at year end when you're looking at supporting someone in need, instead of going to a big nonprofit, you might decide to go to GiveForward and find a family who's going through a situation similar to something you or a family member of your own has experienced.
You guys met back in 2008 when Ethan was raising money to run a marathon in a banana suit, right?
Sort of, yeah.
Shortly thereafter.
Yeah, so Ethan had this great experience of raising money for a marathon and wanted to create a company that would allow people to do that for any cause that they cared about. And in early 2008, I had started a version of GiveForward that was really designed to help people raising money who weren't necessarily affiliated with nonprofits. So I was partially inspired by Hurricane Katrina and the fact that there was no easy way to give to families who were trying to rebuild. And so I had like the very early idea of GiveForward, but a friend introduced us, and Ethan brought the fundraising component, and I brought what I thought was the donor-driven component, and we launched GiveForward together in August of 08.
So you guys moved to Chicago, and less than 5 years later, you have the #1 medical fundraising platform. That's incredible.
It's a long 5 years.
Long 5 years.
What do you think's made the greatest contribution to your success?
I would say, truthfully, it's as much as we like to pretend that we're really, really smart people, that a lot of it has been luck and good timing. I think in the beginning, so we bootstrapped this. We didn't have any funding for the first couple of years. In fact, when we tried to get funding in the beginning, we got laughed out of the room because back then in 2008, crowdfunding wasn't even a word. And I think what really helped us succeed was that we just stuck around long enough to catch a lucky break, and that we were really scrappy. We had zero costs. We used to cut and print our own business cards. We just didn't have any expenses whatsoever, and it allowed us to stay in the game for almost 2 years while we were working side jobs to make ends meet. And then we caught a lucky break when we got into something called Accelerate Labs, which is now Techstars. And that opened so many doors for us. And from there, we got really some great investors, and they opened more doors for us. And then the market timing caught up. So crowdfunding started to explode in 2011, And because we were in that game and had been around long enough to get lucky, we were in the right place at the right time when crowdfunding as a category started to really excel.
Another thing too that I think contributed to our growth is the fact that when we initially started, we were a crowdfunding platform for anything, and we were just the two of us and a handful of interns, and we just didn't have the resources to be able to be everything to everyone and do it well. And so we looked at how our users were using the site, and the majority of the positive feedback, the majority of like the hugs and the thank yous and the really like great stories were coming from medical. And so in August of 2009, Ethan was like, I think we need to pivot and just do medical. And at first I was really resistant because I didn't want to give up on this broader vision. But what focusing allowed us to do is really just define ourselves within this niche within crowdfunding. And so as everything else is kind of bubbling up around us, we've been lifted within our vertical, which I think is arguably one of the most impactful verticals and probably one of the ones that will be the biggest moving forward.
So is there something you wish you would have known when you're starting out in Chicago that could have made a big difference in your business today?
I think what we should have known is that they always tell you you're supposed to start with a technical co-founder and a business co-founder. And we started with two business co-founders that knew nothing about business. And so it would have been nice to know is how fast we've grown and how much we've grown since we brought on technical help. And had we known that, we probably would have had a third co-founder from the beginning who was technical. But we literally knew nothing about startups or technology. We just both kind of like were passionate about this, and so we started it. But knowing what we know now, we probably would have started with a technical co-founder.
Start out with a hacker and a hustler, huh?
Yeah, we had two hustlers.
We had hustlers, but we just didn't have the hacker.
Yeah.
So let's look ahead for a second then. What's your biggest dream? Is it to continue doing this medical, or do you want to eventually broaden it, or what is it?
I mean, we really want to be the first place that people turn to when a loved one is going through a difficult time. And right now, it's really easy to find that as a medical crisis, right? Because it's something that most people can relate to. Ultimately, people probably use GiveForward for other things like they do now, but our main focus is becoming just the number one site for medical. That every time you know about someone in your family or a friend from college or whatever going through something difficult that's related to their health, that without a doubt your friends and family say, hey, we should start a GiveForward page.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Thank you, guys.